And of course, the eyes of the sporting world are on Adelaide this week with State of Origin 1 being played in the City of Churches on Wednesday. Then the next day at Parramatta, it is game 1 of the Women's State of Origin series. And of course, this year there are 2 games in the Women's. I cannot wait. And joining me live is David Trodden, the CEO of the New South Wales Rugby League. Morning, Trotto. An exciting week.
Good morning, Jim. Yeah, very exciting with those 2 games that you mentioned. Everybody's off to Adelaide tomorrow, at least the team is. And then the women are, fully into their preparation for the game on Thursday night at Parramatta as well. And they're really confident that they'll give a good showing on Thursday night. So very exciting, as you say.
There's always so much chat around Origin and what it represents and, taking the games outside of Sydney and Brisbane, and people are always saying, they're not going to sell and there's not going to be enough people in the ground. Well, there's only a few seats left, isn't there?
Yeah, well, it's the biggest event in Australian sport, bar none, Tim. And, the opportunity to take a 3rd game in a 3-game series to other sort of non-traditional rugby league venues represents a great opportunity for our game, I reckon, and gives everybody in Australia an ability to experience what we get to experience on a weekly basis in Sydney and Brisbane. So, the notion that we can spread the love of the game, if you like, and take our game to other capital cities in Australia, I think is a great notion.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any question that it will be at capacity come game time. Having covered so much sport in Adelaide myself, I know how that place comes alive when there's anything of this kind of note, whether we go all the way back to the Adelaide Grand Prix or the Tour Down Under. Now, this year is very different to the last time we were in Adelaide because it was right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, I never really got to experience Adelaide in the same ways we will be able to do this year, particularly the teams. What happened in the middle of COVID, Tim, was that the teams had to fly in on the day of the game. They literally were holed up in a hotel pre-game, played the game, and they literally had to fly out immediately after the game. And so they got to experience none of the delights of Adelaide, and it was a really very different year that year. And so I'm anticipating that this year will be a whole lot more exciting for both the teams, but particularly for the fans that travel over there and the local people that will be able to go and enjoy the game as well.
Obviously, your focus is on New South Wales. How has the men's preparation been this week? It seemed like it's had quite a bit of diversity to it, whether they are moving amongst charities, training. Freddie obviously has his own techniques, getting the players to take their shoes off and feeling the turf.
Yeah, well, typically Freddie's camps have that range of sort of experiences for the players. Is quite different from the experience that they have in preparing for NRL games. But Freddie has a seriously strong philosophical view about good people making good players as well, and reminding the players all the time of what a privileged position they hold, and sort of understanding that giving to others who are maybe less privileged than them is something that's a really good thing to do, and ultimately reaps rewards for them themselves in their performance in their personal lives. And so his camps are always characterised by those things. He always goes to Woolloomooloo one evening early in the camp where the players feed homeless people and they have a gym session at Woolloomooloo PCYC. And so Freddie is very, very strong on those sorts of social equity views and reminding the team about how important they are.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's important. I know that Billy Slater's very similar with Queensland, and look, they're going to be formidable opposition for us New South Wales supporters because they actually have the trophy at the moment, and they've got a very good football team. So it's going to be a cracker on Wednesday to start it all off. Now, the women's game, New South Wales has the trophy. We've got 2 State of Origin games this year. Starts at Parramatta on Thursday. The quality of football is just through the roof.
It's just that the women's game, both in numbers and in quality, is just exploding at the moment. We've got 25,000 players in New South Wales now. It's just the game's growing at sort of 25% year on year. But not only is it growing numerically, but as you say, the standard is just fantastic. And watching those women train at our training base at Sydney Olympic Park this year, you just get a reminder of what great athletes they are. And I'm really looking forward to that game on Thursday night. We've got a great side, got a couple of new young players, a young halfback who will be making her debut for New South Wales, together with a mix of some of the more experienced players like our captains, Kezzy Apps and Isabel Kelly. And we've got a great team, and really keen to see how they go on Thursday night.
Yeah, finally, of course, to do a lot of work with New South Wales Rugby League. We had a great night earlier in the week when the teams were announced, both the men's and the women's teams, and 2 players inducted into the Hall of Fame. 2 of the nicest guys, generationally different, but you'd ever see in the game. Mick Cronin, of course, Gerringong's favourite son, and the bloke with the greatest smile, the greatest Novocastrian grin of all, Danny Badiris.
Yeah, so as you say, generationally different, Tim, but what they have absolutely in common is their humility. And, as you saw on Monday night, both of those guys are on the stage accepting an induction into the Hall of Fame. Genuinely not understanding how they could be placed in the same company as the Gazniers and the Rapers and the Fittlers and the Johns, and absolutely deserving that they be there, but so humble that they genuinely don't understand the concept. So just great people, and great to honour them, and really comforting to see the reaction that you get from those guys when they're afforded the honours that they were on Monday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as you know, I'm married to a Queenslander, but that's where my support for Queensland stops, because when it's State of Origin time, you fly your colours. So go the Mighty Blues, and have a great week.
Thanks, Tim.